Ever wanted to go behind the scenes of a Foundry demo? In this series of videos, we're going to explore the Foundry Reference Project. If you're already a developer on the platform, then you'll find resources here that you can start to use right away. And if you don't have access to Foundry yet, this series can serve as a quick introduction to what a simple use case implementation looks like on Foundry. Keep in mind that as we go through this series, it's not really going to be a demo. We're not going to dive into advanced data analytics or look at any complicated application implementations. Instead, we're going to focus on what you need to know as a Foundry developer to get started with your first use case right away. With that said, let's get going. In this example, we're going to be looking at data from the aviation industry. And to orient ourselves, we'll start at the end with an operational workspace configured for an industry analyst to act on alerts about the performance of different flight routes in the US. The landing page provides quick access to relevant data about the industry, including flights, routes, airlines, and aircraft, as well as the alerts themselves. There's also tailored applications for triaging alerts and tracking the national and regional overview. We'll follow the analyst into their triage inbox to understand their workflow. In later videos, we'll go into edit mode and understand how an app like this works. The main table of the inbox lists all the alerts, but we're just interested in those that haven't yet been assigned. Filtering by status and priority leaves us with 2 alerts to check out. The details view shows alert metadata and summarizes the reason for the alert priority, as well as showing us some context, with alerts triggered about individual flights on the same route as the one we're currently looking into. We can get more details about the route and its overall performance in the pre-configured dashboards. This view lets us compare arbitrary cohorts of flights on the same route to explore hypotheses about the underlying root cause of performance issues. We can even dive into the granular flight data if we need to do more detailed investigation and analysis. For our purposes though, we just want to open this up and assign it to someone else to do the follow-up. So we return to the alert view and take a quick action to find and assign an owner while also changing the status to open. After we've made the change, we can see that the alert itself updates, as well as our inbox, which now shows a single alert pending triage, and if we update our filters, we can see that our alert has joined one other that's currently assigned to me. So there's our little vignette. On the surface, as simple as it could be. Filter and review a little bit of data and take an action. Under the hood though, there's so much more fun stuff going on. To get the engineer's perspective on this project, let's jump into the data lineage tool, starting with a high-level view of how data flows through the resources that make up our project. All the way on the right are our applications, and immediately to the left in yellow, we can see the data that backs up those apps, labeled here with a little bit of Foundry lingo as objects. Upstream of these objects, we cross a conceptual and technical divide and move from the object representation of our data into its dataset representation. We'll return to this in a later video about the ontology to better understand the details of what's going on here. Further back from these datasets, we have our pipeline of cleanup, transformation, and enrichment steps, all leading back to 3 different source systems. We can expand out this grouped view to see the individual resources, the object types and datasets, and the logic that links them together. In our next video, we'll start from the other end and understand how to build up a data lineage view like this for an existing project and identify the different distinct resource types that are involved. Let's stop here for our overview. We've got a general idea of one workflow within our use case, the application for triaging route alerts, and we've seen the general flow of data through the resources that make up our project. In the rest of the series, we're going to return to each of these components within our use case, the data transformation pipeline, the ontology data model, and the application implementation itself, and go into more details. Make sure that you subscribe to follow along as we get into the weeds of each of these patterns across our Foundry Reference project.